Planet Dolan.
From a classroom strip club to a psychotic Spanish teacher, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the weirdest things we've seen happen at school. I'm Pringle the One, and today, I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by dakingtortoise. In middle school, Dolan and a few other friends found their principal jerking into what looked like porn. Was he traumatized? Probably, since Dolan can't get the image out of his head of jizz going everywhere. Luckily, the principal got fired, but not after a day or two of the incident. Another time, Dolan and a couple of different friends were walking to the library where they spotted a few empty beer glasses and the principal sitting on his desk, vomiting. That was a pleasant sight. Number 9 was submitted by PheonixWeaver. When Pandora was in 3rd grade, there was a restroom right outside her classroom. In the middle of class, they heard the sound of a kindergartner, or maybe a 1st grade boy crying in the boys' room. The teacher went to investigate, and from the classroom, Pandora and her classmates heard him cry, "I can't poop." Of course, they all gave each other confused looks, and some kids laughed. Suddenly, they heard the boy yell, "I need a book!" Seconds later, the teacher scrambled looking for a book the boy would be able to read. Then, out of nowhere, everyone saw the teary-eyed boy standing in the doorway with his pants half down. Pandora and her classmates started freaking out and averting their eyes, but the poor little guy just seemed startled and confused. That was many years ago, and Pandora sometimes looks back on the day and wonders if that poor kid ever looks back too, and cringes in embarrassment. Number 8 was submitted by Ral365. A lot of kids in Nixium's high school openly mocked the dress code, and the reactions were more than a little strange. His science teacher saw Helpin with a shirt that read, "Beer, now cheaper than gas." The teacher used yellow duct tape to make an A over one of the E's to make it say bear instead. There were several times where students came to class in their pajama pants for no reason. Gooby came to school sucking on a pacifier, but she got so many weird looks from her peers that she took it out before the end of the day. The weirdest was McCallum, who dressed in a drag while wearing a wig and a gown with obvious spaghetti straps, but no other clothes underneath. A lot of students thought that was hilarious, but the worst he got from the teachers were confused glances. Number 7 was submitted by Lily the Random. Last year in health class, Annie Mations and their best friend were listening to a boring lecture about nutritional foods which nobody else was listening to. The very faint smell of smoke came in through the open door, right next to the bathrooms. A few people started to notice, thinking it was maybe just a malfunction in the popcorn popper, but soon realized there wasn't a teacher's lounge where a popcorn machine would typically be. After about 5 minutes, some kid, Legna, really needed to use the bathroom. About 3 seconds later, he ran back in the room screaming, The urinals are on fire!" Everyone was either shocked, scared, or laughing their butts off. The teacher finally stopped lecturing and went to investigate. Turns out, someone had shoved a few wads of paper towels in each urinal and lit them with a lighter. Nobody was caught, and it's still the weirdest event Andy has ever seen at any of her schools. Number 6 was submitted by ProjectCS. One time during gym, Honeybits and her classmate were playing some freeze tag when a car drove into the parking lot. 2 drunk guys got out, and one had a megaphone. The one with the megaphone started shouting at them to go screw themselves. Then the other guy started to run after them. He attempted to grab Honeybits, but the teacher punched him in the face, and everyone was told to go inside. The school was on lockdown for the last 2 hours. The guys were arrested for attempted kidnapping and in possession of meth. Number 5 was submitted by Dr. Sunshine 703. On the first day of middle school, Robo saw a group of 3 girls and 1 boy from the next grade up. The girls were surrounding the boy's front side, talking in whispers and not looking too suspicious. Robo could see the boy fully since she wasn't standing off to the side of him, and she overheard what they were talking about. That's when the boy pulled down the front side of his pants, and the girls peered inside with smiles on their faces. They jumped back. Looking excited, one of the girls, Doopy, said,
"Damn, that bitch is hard."
And Robo slowly walked away. The next day, Robo told her friend what had happened, then went to the office to tell them. Later on in the school year, the same kids, along with a few more people, threw water bottles at Robo and her friends. She never mentioned what she saw because then it would start rumors, and everyone would bully her and call her a snitch, saying it was her fault. Number 4 was submitted by Steph Senpai. One day at school, Ladybug was headed toward the staircase which led to the cafeteria. Spinal Palm grabbed her shoulder. He looked like something happened to him. He told her, "No." And Ladybug looked at him, confused, and again, he said, "No." She asked,
"No what?"
Then he just yelled,
No, 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 no.
Spinal Palm fell to the ground and just whispered,
No.
Ladybug tried to help him, but he literally said nothing but no, for what seemed like forever. She helped him up and walked to the cafeteria, still confused. Number 3 was submitted by Poptartro. A lot of weird things have happened in Ghost Toast School, like the principal throwing a child into a wall or the unexplained hole in the lunchroom wall. The weirdest, by far, has been the new Spanish teacher. One day he was reading in front of the class and seemingly got angry. He stood up, pulled the bag out, and started screaming, "Gato! Gato!" Pulling out a plush cat, he proceeded to throw it across the room, scaring most of the students. Soon after the Spanish teacher mysteriously quit, it was mid-semester and he just never showed up again. To this day, nobody knew why he left or why he even gave lessons like that. Number 2 was submitted by CaptainLadybug. Shima was running late for trigonometry, so she speed walked down the hallway until she reached the door. She grabbed the doorknob, ready to explain to the teacher why she was late, and opened the door. Shima was expecting to see her fellow classmates sitting in their seats, writing notes for that day's lesson. But no, oh no, Shima saw something completely different. She saw that all but one of the lights were off, and all the guys in that class were only in their underwear, grinding and dancing to pulsating beats. All the girls were throwing money at them and cheering them on. The teacher was nowhere in sight. Shima just stood in the door, shocked and trying to process what was going on. She just walked back out the door, went down the hall, and sat in the library for that class period. The next day, all the students in that class were suspended. Someone had taken photos of the makeshift strip club and posted them online. Shima got off scot-free because she hadn't participated in it. Number 1 was submitted by me, your narrator, Pringle the One. What's the weirdest thing I ever saw happen at my school? Well, it has to be this one time where I was in middle school, where there were 2 guys. These guys, man, they were about to duke it out on each other. They were really mad. One of them tossed chocolate milk on his tray, and he was about to knock his head off loose, like it was just about to get carried off. And he was just about to fight him. He was getting to his face, put his fist up, and then they just started hugging each other. Yeah, they started hugging each other, and there was no fighting afterwards. They just became friends. And I was very confused. I was conflicted. I wanted to see some Street Fighter type stuff happen. And in the end, it was just straight thug loving. Huge thanks for the folks over on our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What's the craziest thing you've seen happen at a party? Let us know on the Reddit page link below, and you might be featured in a future countdown. Take care, everybody. Much love and appreciation. Peace.
Friends were hanging out in his basement when suddenly they heard a loud bang coming from the water boiler room. He assumed it was a mousetrap going off, so he picked up a plastic bag and got gloves to get rid of the rat, but when they opened the door, there was no mouse to be found. Pringle